So we just saw Wicked, and it was fine. I mean, it was fine. I went into this movie definitely thinking that I was going to have a really strong opinion one way or the other. Thought it was going to be pretty strongly negative just because, but I don't. I really don't. It was fine. Sam and I were lucky enough to have been able to see Wicked on Broadway, and obviously this movie just made me reminiscent of that performance. And while I wouldn't say Wicked is my favorite Broadway musical I've ever seen, I get it. It is fantastic. The music is really cool, and I really understand why a lot of people have connected to this story. My biggest takeaway from the musical, and then also watching the movie now, is what not known or maybe lesser understood story that the traditional Wizard of Oz world has to offer. It was a series of books, and there's a lot of backstory and lore. And coming out of both of these, I'm just like, man, I got to read the books. But aside from that, I feel like I also, it's like, it was fine. The music was cool. The performances were fine. Ariana Grande was actually pretty funny in this, and I'm not a big Ariana Grande fan traditionally, so I kind of wasn't expecting it. She's a really good singer. The Alphaba actress was a really good performer. They had a cameo from the original cast, Idina Menzel, and then whoever played Glenda. And just in their little cameo performance, you can just completely see what a more powerful vocal presence those two have, because it sort of highlights the two arts. Being a musical, like a stage singer, stage performer for a musical theater is much different than recording pop tunes or, these sort of like studio recorded songs, which is kind of, in my opinion, what these musical numbers in this movie were. They're just recorded, and they sound polished, and they sound great, and they sound produced, and they're good. They're fine. I mean, it's like, what did you expect, But that's like a little bit why I just don't care about this movie, is because I love musical theater. I love stage plays. I was in quite a few plays at college and in child's theater, and so I always have this like special little place in my heart for theater, largely because it's one of the few, like the last bastions of like live art, right? It's there, it's uncopyable. If you want to go see Wicked, you have to go sit down in a seat and watch it. And the performance that you're going to see is different than the performance that I'm going to see 2 weeks from now, because you're getting maybe even a different cast. You might get different nights where somebody's sick, or somebody's just feeling a little more engaged, or the crowd is better and they're feeding off of that, or it's run number 1 versus night 550 million. And so you just get a different piece of art. And so it's really, really unique and special. And so to try to fit that into a movie just feels like it takes a lot of the magic out of it to me, out of the story, out of the performance, out of the importance of something that's musical theater. And I don't want to speak for musical theater fans everywhere, but seeing these movies made, it's like I'm not against it. Definitely fine, make Wicked, but don't expect me to have the same feeling that I have, or like it's just not the same. It's just totally different, It's whatever. I'm sounding pretty negative, but let's just talk about the movie as it was. I have to give it a little bit of credit, obviously, because, and like it was the same thing with the Mean Girls musical. It's like it is bringing to the table the fact that it's musical theater, so it's a musical. I do not see this every day in the theater. So the fact that there's an ensemble cast and an ensemble, these big dance numbers and musical numbers and everything, it's like I haven't seen that in the last 10 movies that I've seen in theaters. So I have to give it just like some credit just for that, because it is different. And above all, that's always what I appreciate in a movie, is just like do something different. Show me something that I haven't seen before. And while I've seen many musicals, whatever, it's cool, it's different. It's not another like Marvel movie or another, Disney Mufasa Lion King remake. So I wouldn't even recommend seeing it in theaters. If you're a fan of Wicked, sure, watch it on streaming, because it's always kind of fun just to see how things are made that you like. But, that's the whole reason this movie was made. It's just another kind of swell of the marketing movie machine, where it's like, let's just take things. Look, it's your favorite. It's Ariana Grande, and she's singing your favorite songs, and yay, come spend money on it. And that's what I did. So I'm part of the problem. So I don't know. I wish I had more of a review of this. I honestly just don't. I just don't care that much to even like conjure up some stuff. It's really CGI. Every third background is obviously against a green screen. There's moments of it that have this like CGI glaze over the characters, where I'm thinking like, God, this is what AI movies are going to look like in the future, just because that's what it looks like. So, very forgettable characters, very forgettable actors, and so long. I mean, almost 3 hours, completely unnecessary. I think the musical performance is 3 hours, and this movie is part 1 and ends at the middle of towards the latter half of the second act, for where intermission is. And so it's like, what are you adding? Why does this need to be so long? Nothing, to answer my own question. Just money. That's the reason it's so long, because they want to make a second one, and they know this is gonna be huge. And there's so much freaking marketing for this movie during the holiday season. It was just Wicked was everywhere and everything all the time. And obviously I know a lot of people who saw it, but the zeitgeist does not particularly reflect that energy, because everyone that I saw is like, yeah, we saw Wicked. Yeah, it was good. And the conversation ends there. So it's like, it's not like the Barbie movie or something where it's very culturally moving. It's just another thing that just goes into the atmosphere. And go see Wicked in theater, in like a live theater. Go see the musical. Go see any musical. Just support that. Don't support this. Leave movies for movies, and leave this own beautiful little art form in its one, let it have its last little spot, I'd give it a right in the middle 5 out of 10. Very forgettable. And it is Wicked. It is a movie. So I hope that helps you.